Japan's summers are hot, and this one promises to get even hotter. Here are 10 things you can do to help you survive the heat. I first came to Japan in the middle of summer from the UK. My apartment didn't have air conditioning and I was going to work in a suit, on foot, using public transport. It was unbearable. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Now, 23 years later, it is noticeably hotter, but I have made my peace with the heat and I actually quite enjoy the summer months. So in this video, I'm going to introduce 10 things that I've discovered or I've started doing that I think really help with the summer heat. Some are obvious, some might be less obvious, some you may have tried, and some may sound stupid. But I do all of these. They really help make the summer from something to be endured into something that can be quite fun and enjoyable. Number 1, acclimatize. Ideally, you'd be starting this in May or June, but you're not too late to get started now. The idea is that your body will adjust to the heat, it will increase your sweat production, it will reduce your kind of subcutaneous fat, and it will kind of optimize your body for dealing with higher temperatures. But in order to do so, you have to expose it to those higher temperatures. Generally, it's very useful to be doing some exercise outside regularly. If you're doing that as it gets warmer, your body has more chances to adjust. It's kind of tough for the 30 minutes that you're walking or jogging or cycling, but it makes the rest of the time much more pleasant once you've acclimatized and adjusted. Number 2, move slow, breathe deep. This sounds kind of stupid, but it's actually made the biggest difference for me. So the key to dealing with the heat or surviving the heat is not to get too hot in the first place. Because once you get too hot, it's actually quite difficult to get rid of that excess heat under normal circumstances. So for example, if you end up having to run for the train in the morning, you've basically made yourself hot and uncomfortable for most of the rest of the day. Instead, if you can plan things and be careful so that you never have to rush, moving slowly and taking really deep, slow breaths, I find really helps me feel much cooler than if I was moving at a normal pace, as that I might be using in winter, and breathing more shallowly or more rapidly. So deep, slow breaths and really slow movements, and it's a great way to actually not get as hot in the first place. Number 3, eat less. And this is quite natural in the summer. We find our appetite dropping off. So eating, for example, more protein, less carbohydrate, eating more vegetables, eating things like kimchi and so on, just to bring down the amount of excess calories you have in your body. I always find that I'm quite comfortable and then I'll have like a big meal and then I'll be way too hot because of having ingested all those calories at once. So switching to a kind of summer diet of grazing on less calorie intensive foods certainly does seem to make a difference to how hot you feel. Number 4, drink water and electrolytes. Now obviously this is common sense and something that everyone should be doing, but it's quite easy to forget. I actually carry around a couple of water bottles all the time. So I've got at least a couple of liters of water on me and I keep sipping on those throughout the summer. I also supplement that with an electrolyte powder, but you can use sports drinks, you can just take salt and have that from time to time. The important thing is to make sure that you don't just drink water, because drinking lots of water can leach the electrolytes from your body and you can end up with headaches and so on. Number 5, use shade or parasol. So in 2023 in Japan, it is almost essential to be shading yourself from the sun when it's at its strongest. And if you can find places with shade, like some of these streets in Sendai, that's great. But when there's no shade, then it might be useful to use parasol. So any kind of umbrella will do, but it might be better to get a light colored one or maybe even a metallic one that reflects the heat rather than absorbs it. If you walk around with a black umbrella, you're likely to be hotter than you need to be. But basically make your own shade, and just getting the sun off yourself is enough to make things much more bearable when you're outside. Number 6, get specialist clothing. So Uniqlo's Airism clothes. any kind of cool biz clothes. These are clothes that are designed using special materials, special designs, just to be cooler, to wick off your body heat and make it more pleasant to exist in the summer heat. This t-shirt, for example, I got a couple of years ago, and it was advertised as being a cooling t-shirt, and I thought that's kind of stupid, but I like the color. But it actually works. So just wearing the t-shirt makes me feel much cooler, to the extent that wearing this t-shirt outside of the summer months is actually uncomfortable. It's too cold. So if I wore this in October, it would be too cold. I would feel chilled and I'd have to put on something else. So getting the right kind of clothing is going to make an enormous difference to summer in Japan. Number 7, now we're getting into your home. So choosing your home based on insulation and shade is going to make an enormous difference. All things being equal, a better insulated place with, double windows, triple windows, decent walls, not being on the top of an apartment building, all those kind of factors are going to make a huge difference to how hot your room gets. And that's going to affect how much money you need to spend to cool it down. Number 8, external shading. So if you have a balcony, if you've got those big glass windows on your balcony, blocking the sun from hitting the windows in the first place makes an enormous difference. So in Japan, we've got these sudare things. You can get them in home centers like D2 or Kynes and so on. And you can just basically hang them in front of your windows to block off the sun. And so the sun hits the sudare get hot, your windows don't get as hot. And this makes an enormous difference. You can also use blackout curtains. So many blackout curtains also have thermal insulation, which is great in the winter, but it's also great in the summer. So anything you can do to create those thermal barriers between the hot outside and the hopefully cooler inside, it's going to make an enormous difference, and you'll end up spending a lot less money to cool down your room. Number 9, supplement your AC. For me, the biggest difference is using a fan alongside AC. So the AC lowers the room temperature in general. The fan gives you that localized coolness, and fans basically cost nothing to run. So you can run your AC at a higher temperature if you have a fan, and you'll be just as comfortable. Save money, reduce your emissions, all that good stuff. And the last one is to make your bed more pleasant. So just like with the Airism clothing, we also have like specially designed sheets, pillowcases, and so on. Nitori has a famous range of cool sheets. You can actually get them in grades. I used to sleep with a bamboo sheet. That made a huge difference. Now I've got the Nitori sheets and I've got a fan, so I don't need the bamboo sheet anymore. But I would definitely recommend checking them out if you need to. If you're too hot at night, you're basically not going to sleep properly, which is going to make you feel terrible the next day. You won't be able to concentrate. You'll be at a higher risk of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And it's just a bad situation to be in. So getting decent sleep depends on it being cool enough. And rather than spending a fortune blasting the AC to reduce the temperature, using these kind of sheets or fans or bamboo sheets is going to let you do that without breaking the bank. If you've enjoyed the video, if you like seeing this kind of content about Japan, about personal finance, investing, retirement, life in Japan, please subscribe. It helps us keep running the channel and making more videos. There's actually one more factor which can make an enormous difference, and that is having access to a shower at work. I was really lucky in that my first job in Japan at a junior high school, there was actually a shower in the teacher's room and no one else used it, but I used it every single day. So having a shower at work is amazing. I also had a shower at work when I worked at university. That was super useful. Having a shower when you get to work, getting all that sweat off before you start working is amazing. And if you don't have access to a shower at work, there's actually an alternative. You need some private space, which, worst case scenario would be like a toilet cubicle or something. But if you've got a changing room or an office that you can lock or anything like that, then getting some of these wet wipes, these kind of icy cool wet wipes, and then when you get to work, strip off, wipe yourself down with the wet wipes. They have a kind of evaporation motion that really cools you down, and that again makes a huge difference. Just getting clean, getting the sweat off, cooling down your skin, maybe changing your shirt or your t-shirt, and then starting work makes an enormous difference to just arriving sweaty and getting into it. And I've got a bonus tip for you. So if you are working outside or you are doing something in the sun and you can't get inside, Japan has a solution for you. Work clothes clothes have gotten a technological upgrade in Japan. You can now buy work jackets and trousers that have built-in fans, built-in air conditioning, pockets to put ice packs in to keep you cooler when you're working outside, and these work really well. You can find them at shops like Workman or similar places. How about you? What do you do to stay cool in Japan in the summer? Any good tips that I haven't mentioned? Please leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.